I wrote it down in a letter about 20 years ago. I'd asked my future if I'd found the right way. And do I live
Welcome to Bluegrass Brooklyn, our podcast all about the music we love, straight from the Bluegrass borough of Brooklyn, New York.
I'd had some bad days. I'd had some bad days. You know I haven't found the line that you finally get to in life, and when you cross it, you figure it out. Baby, it's no secret. You have to believe that it all means something. We're not just spinning around. And there is sunshine in the cracks of my mind. I'm just as holy as the great divide. I'm just a small piece of the great mystery. I don't need to question any of my life.
Hello, and welcome to this Monday edition of the Bluegrass Brooklyn podcast. I'm your host, Liz Wolfe, and in these editions, we explore topics that are related to and supporting our favorite music, bluegrass. Enjoy the show.
We all come from something. No one comes from nothing. It took a millennia.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Bluegrass Brooklyn. Today, I'm excited to have on Avril Smith. One aspect of her life is as the guitarist for Della. She has other aspects of her life, which of course we're going to talk about. And I was excited to run into Avril at IBMA briefly. I sat behind her on the airplane, and I was a little shy about saying anything until we got down to the baggage claim. I was like, let's just do it. And Avril agreed to participate. And so I'm so excited. So welcome, Avril.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a real pleasure.
I love those serendipitous bluegrass moments. Of course, that's one of the really cool things
Yes.
with IBMA is you never know who you're going to run into at baggage claim.
right.
You know what I'm saying? So speaking of baggage claim, did you carry your guitar? Like, how do you get your guitar around when you travel for all your gigs?
So the gold standard is to travel with my guitar in a flight case, and we fly Southwest Airlines because we're frequent flyers, and their planes, you almost always you can get it in the overhead compartment as long as you board early. But you're always at the mercy of obviously the flight attendants and the gate agents, but for the most part, it's gone well.
Okay. Well, I know I've seen a lot about that online lately.
Yeah, we had an unfortunate experience earlier in the year where a gate agent was not willing to follow the policy or the law, and she forced me to check my guitar, even though we were boarding early and there was plenty of room on the plane. But she said because it was a full flight, it wouldn't be fair to the other passengers. And it's like airline policies aren't about fairness. It's like if you pay more money, you can board early. We pay more money to fly more often, and therefore we board early. And the policy is that if there's space, you can bring the guitar on, which there always is space if you're boarding in the first 30 people.
Yeah.
Right, it's not an issue about whether there's going to be space. Anyway, so that was one unfortunate experience. And then later, Southwest apologized. I know that we shouldn't have done that. Sorry. But, a lot of good that does. I was just lucky that my guitar was fine.
Yeah, because I've
but-
seen some nasty pictures of things. But I'm
Yeah.
assuming you pack it in a way that you're expecting.
Yeah,
you have
it's
to.
in a good case, but even in the best case, terrible things happen to people's instruments all the time when they check them. So obviously we want to try to keep them with us, and our instruments are valuable. They're both, worth a lot of money, but also sentimentally valuable to us. And so
And an important part of your business, right? You can't get to
Yes.
the other side to play a gig and not have your instrument
that's
available to you.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole new level. So tell us a little bit about your experience at IBMA. Since we're talking about it, you got to do some really
Sure.
cool things.
Oh, yeah. It was a wonderful IBMA this year. We got a chance to play at the awards show. which I hadn't done before, and that was really, really fun. We played a song with Alice Gerrard and Laurie Lewis as part of a number of shows we've done over the last year as a tribute to Hazel Dickens, celebrating what would have been her 100th birthday this year, and we're all huge fans of her music, and obviously she was a mentor to all of us, and her songwriting for me in particular, as someone who's worked in the labor movement for my entire career. She was a pioneer as a woman's voice, speaking about what it was to be a worker in West Virginia, and have family members who were working in the coal mines and what their lives were like and how they joined together to try to improve their lives and improve their jobs. So anyway, it was great to get to perform with Lori and Alice on that stage and to play those songs, which I think are meaningful to a lot of people who were in the audience as well. And then we played a song with Steve Martin. He and Alison Brown have a new record that just came out this week, actually. And we recorded a song with Steve for that record called Cluck Old Hen,
Yeah.
his kind of
Yeah.
new version of it. I think it's called New Cluck Old Hen is actually the song title. And it's got, of course, funny lyrics because Steve wrote them. And it
Yeah.
was a really fun tune to play. And it has a cool fiddle tune in the middle. And it was like a big crew of people on stage for the actual performance. A really great time. And it's just great to see all of our old friends that, sometimes you see them passing on tour or at festivals, but just having some time to really hang with folks is always really just rejuvenating and fun. And also, Hot Rise got a Lifetime Achievement Award, and
Yeah.
that was really cool to see side stage. Obviously, they're all huge heroes and influences of ours. And we were actually sharing a dressing room with them, so I could hear them rehearsing their songs for the show.
How
So that was super
fun.
cool. I always feel like that's like one of the magical things about being a musician. And getting a chance to meet your heroes. Playing shows with them is great, but the really exciting thing for me is the rehearsal and getting to hear how artists put together their material and how they think about arranging it. And you get sort of a window into the artistry that's special and that you don't get as an audience member, or that you even in the performance you don't quite get. It's really in how they put it together.
Yeah, that is fun in the back scenes. And of course, I had just interviewed Alison Brown right before IBMA.
Oh,
And
great.
so for me, the thrill is I'm in the audience. I've only been to IBMA twice, last year and this year, but I'm in the audience watching Vicky Vaughn win the award, seeing Alison Brown up there, seeing you all up there playing, and
Yeah, there
having
were a
that
lot of
personal.
women.
And there were a lot of
A
women.
lot of women on the stage this year, and I'm sure Allison had something to do with that. But
Uh,
also, the people who vote in the IBMA awards, Vicky Vaughn won again, Sierra won. I mean, there are a lot of women who are winning awards. So, yeah, I think the organization was really recognizing women who are leaders in the music, and that's something to be celebrated.
How long have you been playing bluegrass professionally as a woman in bluegrass? When did you really start? And then how have you seen that change over time for women in bluegrass?
I started playing guitar as a young child, but I got into bluegrass in college, and really what drew me to it was the community, that it's really about people of all levels can join together and play, people of all different kinds of perspectives and values. It's a way to connect with people. And even though I was a really experienced musician when I started it, I really liked that you could just learn a few chords and you can be part of the jam and you could be part of the community and find joy in music. Also, for me, what music is about is something that's joyful and something that you can do with other people and have that shared experience. So I really appreciated that about bluegrass. And certainly there were not a lot of women. I mean, growing up playing guitar, there were not a lot of women in any style of music, really, who were lead guitar players. I mean, there were a handful, but you could kind of name them on, one or two hands in both rock music and certainly in jazz, which were the two styles that I grew up on. And, the same is certainly true in bluegrass. But that's starting to change. And of course, the mission of Della May, when it formed in 2010, was to help change that. That was Kimber's vision for how do you have a platform so more women musicians could be on these stages.
Hmm.
And yeah, I mean, it's changed a lot. And some of the best players in our scene now are women. Obviously Alison Brown, Alison Krauss, Missy Raines, Maddie Denton just won on the fiddle this last year. She's an incredible player. I mean, there are so many. Obviously Sierra, Hull, Molly Tuttle. There are a lot. There was a young woman who played with us for the Hazel tribute at IBMA and also at Hardly Strictly Bluegrass, Sophia Sparks. She's 17-year-old mandolin player and she's unbelievably good and a wonderful person too. So that was a really special thing actually about our Hazel performances that we had like 4 generations of women
Mm.
stage. So that was, I think, a really special thing. And all people who were inspired by Hazel Dickens' music.
The very first time I went to Great Fox, which was 2011 or 2012, you were playing on the stage. And I remember very specifically that was very much of a novel thing. Like I dragged my daughter and my daughter's friend, like, we're going to see Della Mae
Yeah.
because no, I knew nothing about you at all. Never even imagined I would ever be doing a podcast where you would be on it. And so it was such a novel thing. And so what I love the most is the shift away from novelty to
Yeah,
respect in the
that's right.
in the community in the bluegrass world.
Yep. Yeah, and there are a number of other bands that are all women, like Sister Sadie, and they've won many IBMA awards and been nominated for Grammys on Big Richard. So yeah, there are a number of bands, and then lots of bands that have, a number of women members in them as well. So things have really shifted.
So you have a whole other part to your life, which is around labor. Tell us
Yeah.
some about that.
Yeah, I've worked in the labor movement since the beginning of my career. I started out helping people form unions as a union organizer, people who worked in childcare, people who worked in colleges and universities, in healthcare jobs. And I continue to do that work now on a consulting basis, so I can tour with Della Mae and record and, have a bigger part of my life be performing music. And that's something I'm really grateful to have the opportunity to do, to have that flexibility. So yeah, I'm lucky in that way, but I do still, now I'm working with, sometimes it's with other kind of progressive advocacy organizations. It's not all labor unions, but it's working on around the same issues around healthcare, childcare,
Hmm.
widows, things like that.
Is that something you studied in college? How did you get into doing this labor movement work?
I went to Oberlin College, which is a liberal arts college, and there's also a music conservatory there. I had a liberal arts education, so sort of the values that fuel my professional career and my work in the labor movement were probably, more clearly formed in college. And I was a political science and sociology major, so I had a general
Mhm.
background. But I just had a friend who was working in the labor movement doing union organizing. And at the time, the labor movement was investing a lot of resources in figuring out how to build the movement and how help more people form unions around the country. And young people obviously were part of that fuel. So I kind of came in that wave in the late 90s.
Did you move away from music for a while? Like, how did you weave in and out of the labor work that you were doing?
I always played. After college, I lived in Cleveland for a few years, and I just couldn't really find a music community there at that time. And maybe it's changed, but as a young person coming from Oberlin was such a vibrant place, and it was just so densely talented. I mean, it was such a talented student body, not just in music, in all the arts. And a lot of people were like me, that they went to the school, they were attracted to the conservatory, but didn't want to apply there and commit fully to doing
Hmm.
music as a career. Because at the time I was afraid I didn't know how I would make a living basically doing that. And so that's why I opted for the liberal arts education. So, yeah, it was when I finally moved to the DC area, which is where I live now, a few years after college. There's a really vibrant music community in the DC area, which I didn't even know when I moved here. And so I found lots of folks to play with. And again, I was working a full-time job, so I kind of, just played around town. I didn't tour for the most part. But then one of my good friends from DC moved to the Boston area and I was visiting him, and that's how I got hooked up with the Delame folks. It's how I met Celia, and then eventually I met Vicky through later. She wasn't living in the Boston area, but
And
it's a small scene. 2009 is when I met Kimber, when I was sort of hanging out in Boston a lot, 2008, 2009. And then Delame, we started Delame in 2010. That's when we first started playing.
and you've had a few iterations of women in the
Yeah. Yeah, Kimber and I were in the very, very first lineup, and then Celia joined, and I had a baby whose name is Hazel, after
Oh,
Hazel.
wow.
and
I didn't
Hazel
know that.
14. So that's how long ago it was. So yeah, once I got pregnant, I realized, oh, this band is going to be doing a lot of touring. That's going to be hard for me to do at this time.
Mhm.
So I bowed out for a while, and Courtney Hartman was the guitar player on the first few albums after that. And then I came back in 2018.
So I guess Courtney bowed out and you came back and then you've
Yeah.
been doing it ever since.
Yeah.
And you said Hazel is 14 now?
14. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you
Yeah.
feel like you have more freedom
Yeah, it's just a lot easier now that
tour around and
she's
everything?
older. Yeah. She's a huge fan though. She helps us out too. We had a DC show last year and she sold our merch for us and she got really into it. And sometimes her friends come and her friends' parents come. So it's cute. It's a family affair.
Yeah. So you're coming to New York City to play some music here.
Yes, we have a new record coming out in January next year, and that's going to be our first show of our album release tour. It's going to be at Jalopy on January 28th, so we're really excited.
I'm very excited because you're in my hometown. It's in Brooklyn. So all you
Yeah,
Brooklyn people listening, we have to come out, show big showing for
yeah, please come.
Della May. Be really great to have you. You have a new album coming out. Tell us about the creative process with that.
Okay, so we have a new album coming out in January, and this one kind of came together a little bit differently than previous ones. We did a lot of co-writing with one another and with songwriter friends of ours to develop the songs that were going to be on the record. So that's something new in the past. Celia Woodsmith has written probably like at least 75% of the songs on our previous record, and this one is more split up between all of us, had a hand in writing a few of the songs. So that was fun. We worked with Alison Brown. The record is going to be on Compass Records, which is her record label, and she was our
Mhm.
producer, and she is an absolute joy to work with and a huge hero of all of ours too. So she helped us sort of hone the arrangements, and she had a lot of great ideas, as you can imagine. And she played banjo on a number of the songs, which was really cool. It was fun when we were arranging the songs with her. You know, she would have either, she's an amazing guitar player too. She played some rhythm guitar on the record as well. But she would either have a guitar or a banjo. And then when we were done arranging it, she would say, like, do you hear banjo on this song? Because I hear banjo on everything. We're like, yeah, banjo sounds great. Let's track some banjo. So there's a lot of great banjo playing on the record. So that's actually new. And we've always had banjo on a track or two on previous records, but this will be the most banjo we've ever had on a record. And yeah, we're really excited about the music. And we've been performing a number of the songs for the last year or so, but it feels fresh, especially with it having new arrangements. And we had some guest musicians as well. It's going to be a really fun year of touring to promote it. We're looking forward to it.
That's great that you're coming to New York City. That is an instrument that is missing from your lineup. This banjo.
Yes.
Does anyone in the group play the banjo?
No, not anymore. Courtney Hartman, who used to be in the band, played some banjo, I think mostly frailing banjo, old time banjo on some
Mhm.
songs back in the day. But I think even then they only toured with banjo occasionally. And now we don't tour with banjo unless Allison sits in with us, which we've done in the past, especially at big festivals. We've done some
Mm.
festivals with her in the past, and I'm sure we'll try to get her to join us next year as well. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, now I play mostly guitar in our shows, a little bit of mandolin, and Kimber plays mostly fiddle, but some mandolin as well. So we kind of switch off.
I mean, I love the banjo. I don't feel like I miss it in your music particularly, but sure, why not have Alison Brown do
Yeah,
some banjo for you?
and she makes everything better. So it was a real treat to both work with her and then have her play on our songs.
So we'll definitely look forward to your show and your album in January, January 28th at Jalopy Theater in good old Brooklyn, our Bluegrass borough. I'm also curious about like your relationship with Kimber. What's it like to be in relationship with someone that you're in the band with? It's a deeper connection than,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's my question. But I don't know if it's like a thing that go around going, I'm in a relationship with Kimber. I don't know.
I mean, it's been a really positive thing for us. I mean, most of touring is not playing music, right? Most of being a bandmate is like not playing music. It's mostly getting where you're going and figuring out how you're going to get to the part where you play music. There's a lot that goes into it. And so we're very compatible in all of those ways that are actually really important. I mean, all of us are, the whole band together. Like, we have a lot of fun together on the road. We like to do the same things. We like to eat the same kinds of food. We all love coffee and wine or whatever. The rhythms of our lives, for the most part, are very compatible. And actually, when we're home, we don't play a lot of music together, just like for fun. And I think part of that is because it's our jobs.
Yeah.
But we have lots of friends who play music around town. And when we get together with them, we do play. Like, we went to this jam the other day at Tom Paxton's house, the legendary folk singer. It was actually really moving. And he's playing and singing these songs, and we're getting to back him up. It was really a special thing to get to do. So we do hang out with our friends in town and play music. But when we're home, we don't. We do other things, that we just normal things.
Yeah, it is interesting. I always make a joke that I always wondered if Bianca and Mick, would hang around and Bianca would say, "Play me a song, honey." Like, he's probably like, "No, I don't want to play music right now." And
Yeah.
when you're with these world-class musicians like you and Kimber, you can kind of imagine, so do you all sit around all day and play music?
Yeah.
And the fact that, nope, somebody's got to do the dishes. Somebody's got to take
Yeah.
the cross-country meet. Somebody's got to make sure she did her homework. Somebody's got
That's
to,
right.
she wants to make pottery. I don't know what else, you've got going on with the labor thing, whatever it is.
Yeah. We have to do all the things everybody else does.
Right. So that's always a wonderful thing to hear about how people are in their lives, other than
Yeah.
the part we see as well. Well, I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. Thank you so much
Thank you for having me.
being on the show and for all your really wonderful insights and stories. And yes, we will see you in New York City, guaranteed, on January 28th.
Great.
And
We are
looking for
looking forward to
your
it.
album when it comes out. Of course, we'll put links to all that in the show notes so people can come out for that.
Thank you so much.
Of the great mystery, I don't need to question any of my life.
Thank you so much for listening. Again, my name is Liz Wolfe. Please subscribe to our podcast and follow us on our social media so you never miss an episode. You can find us online at bluegrassbrooklyn.com. Brooklyn is spelled BKLYN. See you around the jam circle.
Some people say a man's made out of mud. A poor man's made out of muscle and blood. Muscle and blood and skin and bone. Now mine that's weak and the back that's strong. You load 16 tons. What do you get? Another day